How is it possible that a popular 50-year legacy program to teach international languages was canceled overnight, behind closed doors, and without a single conversation with anyone affected? They didn't tell the students, they didn't tell the parents, and they didn't even tell the language instructors set to lose the jobs they love. And yet here we are. In my community, the students of St. Roch, St. Margherita, St. Simon, St. Andre, St. Jane Francis, St. Francis de Sales, St. Wilfrid, St. Jude, and Venerable John Merlini will no longer get to learn international languages like Italian and Spanish, while other schools will lose Portuguese, Arabic, Tagalog, Mandarin, and more. This program has been a part of the identity of these schools for generations until now. Thanks to this government, 20,000 students in schools across the Toronto Catholic District School Board are losing their international languages program, all because of a secret decision made by a hand-picked supervisor friend of this government as part of their takeover of the school board. Why? So they can make their malicious cuts to education and other core services to find the money to fund their fantasy ideas that nobody asked for. Parents deserve answers, and we are calling on this government to reverse this cut and immediately restore the international languages program in all schools. I'm joined by parent Sabrina Rodriguez, one of tens of thousands of parents whose child has been affected by the cancellation of this cherished language program. Sabrina.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Rodriguez, and I come from the community of St. Jane Francis at Jane and Shepherd. I am with Chandel, who's also a parent, and my daughter Melinda, who's participated in the international language for many years when she was in school. And now I do have my 9-year-old who also participates in the international language. I want to know as a parent why this happened, why it happened overnight, why we were told, and why staff were told after the families were told. This is unfair. I don't know what to go back to tell my 9-year-old who's asking me why she's not having Italian, why she's not having Spanish next year. I don't know what to tell her. When she's asked me why the teacher is no longer going to be with us in September, where is she going? I don't know what to tell her. This teacher that has been particularly at the school has taught my daughter, my son, and now my youngest. I am so disappointed at how this has happened, at how the lack of communication with the board overall has been absolutely disappointing, to say the least. I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. I have other parents who feel the same way, and we just want answers. I also would like this international language program to be reinstated. I don't think it's fair to the staff. I don't think it's fair to the families. And again, I don't know what to tell my daughter, and I know fellow parents as well feel the same way. What are we going to tell our children? Why they can't learn Spanish? I come from an immigrant family. I am of Hispanic heritage. And I loved that my daughter could have Spanish in the school. Now what? For a Saturday? For a fee of $20? Why? 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 Who do we ask? Who can give us these answers? What is the agenda? What is it? What is it? How can we reinstate it as a family of the community? How can we do this? Please.
Thank you, Sabrina, and very great questions. I'd now like to invite Val DiGregorio, the president of CUPE 3511, to speak. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Val DiGregorio, and I'm the president of CUPE 3155, and I'm also an instructor at the TCDSB teaching Italian. I'm here today because we received devastating news last week that myself and all 77 of my members will be out of a job at the end of this year. This decision will not only hurt us, it affects students, parents, and entire communities. The Toronto Catholic District School Board, by orders of the supervisor, has chosen to eliminate international language program entirely. This is deeply disappointing and an unnecessary decision. 77 dedicated language instructors will lose their jobs. Skilled educators who have supported students, families for decades. Some of these workers have given over 30 years of their lives to this program. 30 years of teaching, mentoring, and building connections to our students. We love this work, and we know how important it is. Learning a third language opens doors for kids. It builds confidence, strengths in communication, and connects them to the world around them. Every child deserves that opportunity. Now students will lose access to languages like Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, Ukrainian, Mandarin, and Filipino. But this loss goes far beyond language instruction. These programs build cultural understanding. They create community. They help students see themselves and each other in a richer, more connected way. What makes this even harder is how this decision was handled. Some of our members heard from parents that the program was being cut before we could even tell them ourselves. This is extremely disrespectful. This situation did not happen by chance. It is a direct result of chronic underfunding by Doug Ford's government. Since 2018, education has been underfunded by more than $6 billion. Cuts like this are the consequences of that underfunding, and they are completely avoidable. We are calling on the supervisor and the Ford government to reconsider this decision. Work with us. Work with the community. Find solutions that protect the vital programs and the workers who make them possible. Because once programs like this are gone, the loss is felt for generations. On behalf of CUPE 3155 and all my members, I'd like to thank these parents and the students for coming out. We wholeheartedly thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Val, and we're happy to take your questions.
Can you explain why this international languages program is not just a nice to have and ought to be funded by the taxpayer since it's unique in Ontario?
Well, you can hear from the parents and the teachers about the profound impact that this program has. So it is definitely harming kids in this community to take away this program. And what we see across the province is that school boards develop programs that respond to the needs and the demands of their community. In fact, I think that this is a great program that should be expanded to other boards. I know I have 3 kids at school in Ottawa. I would love to see my kids have access to an opportunity like this. I think when we find a great program, when we have one that has such deep roots and such great outcomes for kids, that we should be investing in that across the province, not cutting.
Sabrina, you were asking, like, where's the agenda? How do we get answers? Like, how do you feel about not having, like, school board trustees to go to talk to about this?
Terrible. This year we're part of the parent council at my school, and unfortunately we were met with, again, the lack of communication, where we did have a trustee where we could have gone to ask for advice, maybe, support us in some way, and however, we didn't have that. So our concerns for our own CSPC team fell to deaf ears. So we have actually seen that impact frontline. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing because we don't know where to go now. Who do we extend our questions to? We only get emails back? Very cold emails.
Did you get responses?
Cold. But nothing to follow up with, and it's disappointing. It's, okay, can you guys call us? Can we have a conversation? Can we set up a meeting? It's all in emails, and it's very disappointing. Again, if we had a trustee who could kind of navigate that world for us, would be obviously a little better. It would help us tremendously. But if we're sending emails and it's, again, falling to deaf ears, what good is that?
You feel that the province hasn't ensured enough accountability from the supervisor?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chandra, what do you make of of parents not being able to go to a trustee to talk about cuts or to have someone who they've elected to talk to?
It's absolutely a concern. In the TCDSB and in the other 7 boards that have been put under supervision, we see this time and time again, that supervisors are making decisions in the dark behind closed doors. They haven't consulted anybody. They don't seem to have taken into account the impact on students and families and the educators who support them every day. but there's nowhere that parents can go to raise those concerns. The supervisors have made it very clear that they do not feel accountable to parents and to communities, and so they have carte blanche right now to do whatever they want, regardless of how harmful it is.